The warm Portuguese air smelled of the sea and flowers. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the picturesque town. The gentle breeze carried the scent of salt water and blooming coastal flowers, creating a serene atmosphere that seemed almost timeless. It was the kind of evening that made you feel at peace, where worries seemed to drift away with the tide. It was May 3rd, 2007, a normal night on a family holiday. Families were enjoying their time together. Children played on the beach and laughter filled the air. The McCann family was no different, savoring their vacation in the beautiful resort town of Praia da Luz. In the quiet seaside town of Praia da Luz, 3-year-old Madeleine McCann was asleep with her younger brother and sister. The children were tucked into their beds, their soft breathing the only sound in the room. The night was calm, and the town seemed to be wrapped in a blanket of tranquility. Her parents, Kate and Jerry, were having dinner with friends at a restaurant just a short walk from their holiday apartment. They were enjoying a rare moment of adult conversation and relaxation, confident that their children were safe and sound just a few minutes away. They checked on the children regularly, like parents do on holiday. Every half hour, one of them would walk back to the apartment to make sure everything was all right. It was a routine they had established to ensure their peace of mind while still enjoying their evening. But at 10 p.m. something terrible happened. The clock struck 10, and the air seemed to grow colder. An uneasy feeling settled over the group, though they couldn't yet understand why. Kate went back to the apartment. She walked briskly, her mind already half on the next check. As she approached the door, a sense of foreboding washed over her. As she opened the door to the children's room, she felt a chill. The room was dark, the silence was heavy, and something felt off. Her heart began to race as she stepped inside. Her heart pounded as she went to Madeleine's bed. It was empty. Panic filled her. Maddie was gone. The realization hit her like a tidal wave, and she felt a scream rising in her throat. The next few hours were a blur of searching and phone calls. Friends and family joined the frantic search, their voices calling out into the night. Flashlights cut through the darkness as they scoured every corner of the resort. The police were called, and the apartment became a crime scene. Officers arrived quickly, their presence adding a sense of urgency and dread. Yellow tape was strung up, marking the area as they began their investigation. Every minute felt like forever. Where was Madeleine? The waiting was unbearable, each second stretching into an eternity. Kate and Jerry clung to each other, their minds racing with fear and questions. The news spread around the world. Headlines blared the shocking story, and soon everyone knew the name Madeleine McCann. The media descended on Praia da Luz, turning the quiet town into a hub of activity. Everyone saw Madeleine's picture, her blue eyes and sweet smile. Her image was everywhere, on television screens, in newspapers, and on posters plastered across the town. The world watched and waited, hoping for a miracle. Everyone hoped she would be found. Vigils were held and communities came together in solidarity. Candles were lit, prayers were said, and the hope that Madeleine would be brought home safely burned brightly in the hearts of people around the globe. The Portuguese police started their investigation, but it wasn't easy. The case of Madeleine McCann's disappearance was unlike anything they had encountered before. The pressure was immense and the eyes of the world were on them. There were language problems, and it seemed like they weren't fast enough. Communication barriers made it difficult to gather accurate information quickly. The urgency of the situation demanded swift action, but the language differences slowed everything down. Important clues might have been lost. The initial hours after a crime are crucial, and any delay can be detrimental. The investigators knew this, and the fear of missing vital evidence weighed heavily on them. The crime scene was messy because lots of people had been in the apartment. Friends, family, and even curious onlookers had entered, unintentionally contaminating potential evidence. This made the job of the police even harder. Fingerprints were smudged, and things that might have been clues were touched. The integrity of the crime scene was compromised, and the investigators had to work with what little they had left. People around the world watched and felt frustrated as the investigation seemed to be going nowhere. The media coverage was relentless, and every newscast brought more questions than answers. The public's frustration mirrored that of the investigators. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. The passage of time without any significant breakthroughs was disheartening. Each day that passed felt like a missed opportunity to find Madeleine. Kate and Jerry McCann kept believing Madeleine was alive. Their hope was unwavering, and they clung to the belief that their daughter would be found. They participated in vigils and public appeals, never giving up. They worked very hard to find her, asking everyone for help. The McCanns mobilized a global effort, enlisting the help of volunteers and spreading the word through every possible channel. Their determination was inspiring. Famous people and politicians helped them spread the word. High-profile figures used their platforms to raise awareness, bringing even more attention to the case. The support from celebrities and politicians was a beacon of hope. But then, some people started to think that maybe the McCanns had something to do with Madeleine's disappearance. The media began to speculate, and public opinion started to shift. The McCanns found themselves under intense scrutiny. The police seemed to be stuck, and they started looking at the McCanns. With no new leads, the focus of the investigation turned inward. The McCanns' every move was analyzed, and the pressure on them grew. The story became even more confusing. The investigation was mired in complexity, and the truth seemed more elusive than ever. The tangled web of theories and speculations only added to the confusion. The news reporters wanted a new story, and they found it in the McCann family. The disappearance of young Madeleine McCann was already a heart-wrenching tale, but the media's relentless pursuit of a headline turned it into a spectacle. The police's suspicions about the McCanns became the focal point of the media frenzy. Every press conference, every police statement was dissected and analyzed, often leading to more questions than answers. Suddenly everyone was looking at Kate and Jerry, the couple who were already devastated by the loss of their daughter, now found themselves under the harsh glare of public scrutiny. Everything they did or said was examined closely. Their every move was watched, their every word was analyzed. The media painted a picture of doubt and suspicion, and the public eagerly consumed it. People didn't know what to believe. Theories and speculations ran wild, and the line between fact and fiction blurred. Friends debated, families argued, and everyone had an opinion. Were the McCanns victims, or were they involved somehow? The question lingered in the air, creating a divide among the public. Some rallied in support of the grieving parents, while others cast doubt on their innocence. It was very hard for Kate and Jerry. The emotional toll was immense. They were not only dealing with the loss of their daughter, but also the weight of public judgment. People said bad things about them. Social media became a battleground of opinions, with harsh comments and unfounded accusations flying in every direction. Newspaper editorials criticized their every action. Their marriage was under a lot of stress. The constant pressure and scrutiny strained their relationship, leading to arguments and moments of doubt. They sought counseling to navigate the turbulent waters they found themselves in, but they kept saying they were innocent. In every interview, every press conference, they maintained their innocence and their love for Madeleine. They held hands, supporting each other through the storm. They still loved their daughter and wanted her back. Their hope never wavered, and they continued to appeal to the public for help in finding Madeleine. Vigils were held, and the community showed their support with candles and flowers. They kept helping the police, hoping Madeleine would come home. The investigation was slow, and the McCanns were always willing to cooperate, providing any information that might lead to their daughter's return. There were language problems, cultural differences, and the police didn't always agree. The international nature of the case added layers of complexity, with different agencies sometimes clashing over methods and priorities. The mistakes at the beginning, the lost time, and all the news stories made things worse. Early errors in the investigation and the relentless media coverage only added to the confusion and frustration. The world watched as the search for Madeleine became a sad story about how rumors and suspicion can hurt a family that had already lost so much. The McCanns' ordeal was a stark reminder of the power of the media and the impact of public opinion.